There we go. I'm seeing some names pop up now. We'll just wait a few more seconds. Gigi, you're in Cincinnati. What part of Cincinnati? I used to live there in Mason. And actually my Emily's at UC, but you're visiting a new grandbaby. Oh, how exciting. Tell me what part of Cincinnati you're in. Happy Wednesday. It's hump day. Really long day for me. I woke up during the night with a headache and just have kind of fighting I can't even think of the word, migraine all day. And I tried to lay down for a little bit of a nap after taking some medicine, but I had to set the alarm to get up for a meeting and couldn't lay back down after that. But anyways, all is good, you know, just one of those things that slows you down a little bit now and then, but you know, counting my blessings, it's nothing more than kind of an off day with that headache that I just can't get rid of. But, oh, St. Bernard, I know right where that is, Gigi. Oh, I hope you're having fun with that new baby. Darn it, if I were closer or didn't have so much to do, I'd zip down and see ya. Maybe another time when you're in Cincinnati, we can meet up. Anyways, thank you for being here tonight. Welcome to Stampin' Peace with Mary Knabe. It's always fun to share some creative projects with you. I am also going to say I have several classes in the works right now that will come out over the next couple of weeks and months. But if you ever have a request, I don't guarantee anything, but I'm always interested in hearing what you would like to see, what you would like to have offered for a class. So keep that in mind. And if you have some thoughts on that, shoot me an email. And I'll do the best I can. I don't buy everything. I buy a lot of different things, but again, sometimes I just like to hear what other people are interested in and see if there's a new way I can connect with you. I'm going to flip my camera around now and we'll get started with tonight's project. While I'm doing that, please do share this live video. I see some comments there that are saying, I loved your story, Mary. What people are referring to is yesterday I did an impromptu Facebook Live, completely unplanned, but as I've been working through some training, direct sales training, I got to thinking about not everybody knows my story. In fact, probably only, well, more people I guess today do, but probably only a small percentage of people actually know my story regarding Stampin' Up! And my job as a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And I think you'll be surprised that I never, ever, ever had any intention of running a business, but it kind of just evolved. And I had some pivotal things that happened that encouraged me and gave me the confidence to build a business. So I hope you'll watch that. It's right here on Stampin' Peace with Mary Knabe from yesterday, January 25th. Now, before I get into the project, I'm pulling out this card from Monday's Facebook Live. This was Monday, let's see, the 24th. And I only have one of the cards left, one of my sample cards. The other I've sent out to a friend who lost her husband recently. And then the other two that I made during the Facebook Live have already been addressed and ready to send out to two of my lucky viewers that were here with us on that day. But what I wanted to point out on this card is basically it's a tone-on-tone card. I stamped with soft succulent ink on soft succulent cardstock. But one thing I did was kind of lightened it and brightened it by using a white watercolor pencil. And I just colored over some of the areas, just small bits to add some highlight and brightening to it, but keeping the look of a tone-on-tone card. So you saw me use that. You saw me use that, what is called a watercolor pencil, but don't let the watercolor part prevent you from purchasing those or using them. You can use them like any regular colored pencil. It's just that because they have the watercolor feature, you can do so much more. And tonight I'm going to be using an assortment of watercolor pencils. We actually have, oops, that one's upside down. We actually have 23 different colors. There are 2 sets. The first set of assorted watercolor pencils has 13, and the second assortment has 10. So that's how I get my 23 different colors. And then also we are going to do some heat embossing tonight. That's always fun for me. Every time I heat emboss, I'm like, ooh, it's just like magic. It never ceases to thrill me. But I wanted to point that out as well. The watercolor pencils are on 126 of the annual catalog, and you'll find the embossing powders and the heat tool on page 128. We have 2 collections of embossing powder. The one is the basics, black, white, and clear, and the other is the metallics, copper, gold, and silver. So I think you'll be quite surprised when you see the technique I'm going to show you today. We're first of all going to emboss on black cardstock, basic black cardstock. And remember I mentioned that Blessings of Home class? I'm actually using that same stamp set and die set for this project tonight. It's not one of the class projects, but it's another way you can learn to use this bundle in a different way. And then if you purchase the class, you'll have 6 more card ideas for that same class. So I'm going to ink this up really well with my Versamark ink. This is very tacky. It's kind of thick. You want to make sure you cover that rubber stamp well. Notice that I have my stamp setting on my crafting surface and I'm moving the ink pad over it. That's because the stamp itself is so much larger than the size of my ink pad. Just makes it a little bit easier in that way. So now I'm going to just center this on my basic black cardstock. I want to make sure I have good pressure all over it. It's a large stamp. That looks pretty good. I know you probably can't see that. And then I'm going to add some, whoops, if I can get my pencil out, or my spoon out, I'm going to add some gold embossing powder to that. You want to make sure all of the ink has been covered with some of the embossing powder. And then I flip it over and just kind of flick the back to get rid of some of the excess powder. Now I'm going to bring in my heat tool and heat this all up. As I heat the powder, you will see it melt, all right? It takes a few seconds to warm up, but now you can see that it's beginning to melt. It gets brighter, it gets shiny, even kind of glossy looking or wet looking at times. That means the powder is melting and it will become a solid and permanent on your cardstock. As you're doing this, you don't want to be moving your heat tool fast. You want to kind of slow it down going over the different parts, and you can watch it melt and see how slowly I'm moving. And then when I think it's all finished, I like to go back over it all just to make sure I haven't missed any small spots. You can see on this one there is a lot going on. So now I'm going to use some of my colored pencils, some of my 23. Remember, this is 2 collections, and the watercolor pencils are actually quite affordable. I do love them for that reason. So I'm going to start with this Melon Mambo. Now, the reason I'm doing this on black is we can emboss and color on white and pretty much know how it's going to look, right? This Melon Mambo would be bright and vibrant, but doing it on black kind of changes the look of the colors. It almost kind of reminds me of back in the day when people used to paint on black velvet. Do you remember that? Oh gosh, that's like decades and decades ago. But that was quite a trend for a while. Then I think I'll add some Daffodil Delight. Now think about how bright Daffodil Delight is, but look what it does against the black. It's just more of a subtle, even a kind of a goldy color. And then I'm going to fill in some of these leaves, and I'm going to use this real bright, gorgeous grape, or not gorgeous. Why did I say gorgeous grape? I guess it's the G's, Granny Apple Green. How many of you have the heat tool and embossing powder? I was just talking to somebody recently and I said, I love heat embossing, but I don't always think to do it that often. Now I'm going to pull in a different green. This one is garden green, and I'm going to go over some of these smaller leaves. You can see too, as I add the color, it kind of tones down some of that gold a little bit, but it's still, oh, Jean, do not be afraid of messing up. That's how we learn. We have to take some chances and give it a try, and that's how we learn. And if you mess up, oh well, it's just paper. In the end, it's just paper, right? You know, I'm gonna make this flower Melon Mambo also. What's neat about this stamp and this technique, oh, that looks, I guess that's more, is that a leaf? Or, no, I guess that's a petal. Oops, I picked up the wrong one then. You can see that it really goes very quickly. Let's see. I want to pull in this pumpkin pie color for some of these smaller flowers. I always love how pinks and oranges go together. It's not something I would think to do myself, but every time I see it, I'll always think that is a really cool color combination. Now, as I'm doing this, are you able to picture in your head how this would look if we were doing it on white, right? We pretty much can picture that. We know. But I think when you do it on black, and it doesn't necessarily have to be black, it could be any different color. It's sort of a surprise for us because the colors do end up being quite different. I'm wondering how there's a purple, gorgeous grape, and here's rich razzleberry. Oh, that's gonna look pretty close to the melon mambo though. So I think I'll go with the gorgeous grape for a different color. There's still a few small leaves. Maybe I'll fill those in as well. Where's that? Here it is. And we have that. Pretty cool, huh? All right, so let's go ahead and turn this into a card. So what do you think? Is this appealing to you? Is this something you would try? Tell me what you think. Claudia says, so pretty. Gigi says, wow. All right. I'm going to pull out the coordinating die. And my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I absolutely love this mini. It sits on this little shelf to my left, and I don't know, I just love it. I think it's because it's light and it's handy. It's not so bulky. If I'm cutting a lot of something, I tend to get out my bigger machine, or of course, if I'm using an embossing folder, most of the embossing folders, you do need the larger Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And a few of the dies, you need the largest one. But I would say probably 90–95% of our dies actually, no, I'm trying to find the end of my washi tape, actually fit in our mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Who knows what I'm gonna do with the washi tape? I bet you all do. I wanna make sure that, and when you heat emboss cardstock, it will tend to curl your cardstock just a little bit. And then because I was coloring on top of that too with the pencils, you can see it's kind of rolled a little bit. So before I actually die cut this, I want to be sure that that die matches up really well with my embossed and colored image, my flower bouquet here. I'm looking at this, what we the flowers we colored with the pumpkin pie, and to me it looks like Cajun craze or maybe cinnamon cider. It just, the colors end up having a completely different tone when you do it on a black or some dark color. And I suppose you could do it on a very bright, vibrant colors too, and also get some variation in the tone of those colors. If you said I was using that washi tape to hold the die in place, you are exactly right. So let's make a card with this now. I have, where's my things I pre-cut here? I have a black card base. I have no idea where all of my bone folders are. I must have put them in the bathroom sink. So I've cut a card base of basic black. I'm going to put basic white on the inside. Of course, we need a nice light neutral color to write on. I don't know how I'm going to use this card, so I'm not going to put a sentiment on right here. I don't think. And then I cut a piece of designer series paper from the Pattern Party designer series paper. This is that one at the back of the annual catalog that you can purchase with Stampin' rewards. So if you have an order or you have a party or you collect orders from your friends and they total at least $150, you'll get Stampin' rewards, host rewards. And if you choose, you can use some of those to purchase this Pattern Party designer series paper. One side is very colorful. The opposite side has all different kinds of black and white patterns. So that's where that's from. And by the way, it's a mega pack. How many are in here? 48 12 by 12 sheets. It goes a long, long, long way. In fact, let me show you where that is in the annual catalog. It's going to be back where they talk about hosting and what the rewards are. So if you host, it tells you what the Stampin' rewards are, and then Stampin' Up! Places special value or a special price on these host options. So this one is $18. So if you've got Stampin' rewards, you can purchase this. So great deal, right? For 48 sheets. All right, let me add this. Lynn Kim, I'm glad to hear that you made it home safely yesterday from Ohio to Michigan. I remembered that you were planning to head back. And then this, I think I'm just going to pop up right there in the center. And I'll pop this up with some dimensionals, of course. Always use up the edge of your dimensional sheets. Just take your snips and cut them into smaller pieces like I did. No sense in wasting any of that. We want to get as much value out of our products as we can, and that is one way to do it. Put that right in the center. There's plenty of room if somebody wants to add a sentiment. Ooh, let me see what kind of ribbon I have for that. Okay, I don't have any more of the black glittered organdy ribbon. That's what I was hoping for. I'm not sure I'm liking any of these, to tell you the truth. That's not bad. Oh, how about this one? How about that? The gold shimmer ribbon. That'll kind of accent the gold embossing. If you have embossing powder, if you have the Versamark ink that you need for embossing, if you have the heat tool, I'm going to encourage you, I'm going to challenge you to make a card or do something with those products. Don't worry about making it perfect. I want you to just play with them and make something. And then take a picture of it and post it here on Stampin' Piece with Mary Knabe. And if you're not sure how to do that, you can even email me the picture and I will do it for you. But I'd like to see some of you doing some heat embossing. And I'm telling you, you do it a little bit, you're gonna love it. It's so fun. I still kind of always marvel at what I call the magic, you know, when you see the transformation happening. I'm trying to decide where I want to put this. I think I'm gonna go right here. I don't know. What do you all think? Do you have an opinion where that goes? While I look for my glue dots. And I think you all know when I am adhering bows, I just press the knot, the back of the knot of my bow to one of my mini glue dots, and that typically is plenty to put it on the, adhere it to whatever you want. Oh, I can't decide. Let's see, what are you all saying? Bottom right, so the right side, left. Okay, so I think I'll go with my first thought, my first choice. So what do you think? Is that something that you would try? Maybe doing some embossing, and I suppose you could even just stamp tone on tone and then color with the watercolor pencils as well. I want to hear that you're wanting to try this. How many of you have watercolor pencils? Oh, Pat Farrell is asking, why do I have a piece of fabric around my glue dot roll? This is actually a piece of ribbon. I do that so that if I drop it on the floor, it doesn't come unraveled and rolling away, and then all the glue dots get stuck to everything or in my carpet or whatever. This just gives me more control, and then I can also just pull back 1 or 2 glue dots at a time as I need them. So that's the purpose of that. Very good question. I feel like there was a question earlier that somebody had that I had to go past. Let me scroll really quickly here. Yes, you could very well use black dimensionals on this. I often forget to use them because I have them behind me, but I don't always have them sitting out here because I don't use them as much. But yes, either one would work, okay? They do the same thing, they're just different colors. Let's see. Maybe I didn't. I thought there was a question earlier. Marcia says she remembers painting on black velvet. Scrolling. Oh, here it is. Is there a special way to clean stamps when you have used Versamark ink instead of the usual inks? I don't know if I'd say it's a special way. It's a different way, and you do want to treat your stamps differently when you've used the Versamark ink. The reason I say that is it's much thicker. It's very tacky. You can even see when it's going on. You'll feel it, that it's much tackier. So therefore, anything that's left on the stamp is going to stay on there. It's not going to come off with just water or just tapping it into our damp chamois. So what I do is I just take it to either the bathroom sink or the kitchen sink, and I just use a mild soap, either a Dawn dish soap. I'll put a little on and just rub it with my fingers, and then I rinse it, and then I go over it and make sure that I don't see or feel any of that tacky ink on it. Even like a good hand soap, like I use the Bath and Body foaming soap in my bathrooms. I've used that on it. That works fine, and it doesn't damage your stamps at all. Dawn dishwashing liquid is good for just about any kind of cleaning, isn't it? All right, I think I should give this card away today. Don't you think so? Marcia, yes, the older watercolor pencils and the watercolor crayons. Oh, I loved those. I love those. And after, you know, when I do this, since I do this for a business, I just can't keep everything. So I ended up selling those to a friend many, many, many years ago. And she was delighted. But anyways, look in here. Oh, somebody said the background paper matches my shirt. It kind of does. I feel like I wear this shirt a lot, but I don't shop a lot, so I don't have a lot of clothes, nor do I have a lot that necessarily fit. Some are, I'll just say I've kind of outgrown. But I do love this one. It's super soft and it's light, but it's warm. And my studio is in my finished basement, so it can get a little bit colder down here than the rest of the house. Jean, I would use what you have. If you have a different brand, use what you have. And, you know, then when you use it up, then purchase the Stampin' Up! Ones. I will say I only have the Stampin' Up! Ones, so I really can't compare them to other brands. I would say they are better than like a Crayola. I don't mean to offend anybody, but keep in mind that the products we use are all intended to be used with our stamping techniques. Okay, so we do, and Stampin' Up! Does take great pride in selling high quality products, and we stand by our products. So, so if you're looking to invest in some watercolor pencils, I can highly recommend the Stampin' Up! Ones. The quality is excellent. They will last for a long time. If you don't have these or don't want to invest in them, but you have some others at home, try them out and see how they do for you. Okay? And then if you can save that money, then you can buy a stamp set or something fun instead. No sense in doubling up on something that you already have that works for you. Okay? All right, if you would like to, and I'm going to show, wow, more people on tonight. This is awesome. Maybe it's just cold everywhere and everybody's staying in and doesn't know what to do with themselves. But thank you for spending part of your Wednesday evening with me. I'm so happy you did. If you, before I show you the other two cards I made with watercolor pencils, if you would like to win this card, please type in the comments now, watercolor pencils. Watercolor pencils. Who remembers how many sets we have of the watercolor pencils? Anybody? How many sets do we have? And how many total watercolor pencils do we have? We actually have 2 sets for a total of 23. The assorted assortment 1 has 13 pencils for $16, and assortment 2 has 10 pencils for $12.50. And in the catalog, they note all the colors for you. I have them both. I use them all equally as much, and I love them all equally as much. So if you're thinking, well, if you only want to get one, which would you get? It's personal preference. I love them both. I like the fact that they're so affordable and will last forever. Okay, who's ready to see a couple more cards? I made these earlier, and I used the Every Chapter stamp from our, where is it? In our mini catalog. every chapter stamp from our mini catalog. If you have friends who like to read, if you belong to a book club, Sharon, I think, are you in a book club? I think Sharon Shreve. This would be great for your friends in book club. This would be great for anybody who enjoys reading as a hobby, or perhaps is even an author, and just enjoys literature. So it's a fun stamp. It's a single stamp, one single stamp. And you don't necessarily have to color all of this. You could stamp this, do a black and white card, not color any of it. Or you can color just some accents, like maybe just the glasses and the little flower here and the bookmark. Or maybe the teacup and the glasses, but not the books. So don't feel like you have to color every part of it. But this is what I did. I used crumb cake cardstock. I embossed with our copper embossing powder. That's part of the metallics collection, gold, silver, and copper. And then I colored with all the, with an assortment of the pencils. I love my little flower right in there. I used white on the ends to color the pages, but just fun. And I think it still works really well on the crumb cake. And then I layered it on top of Cajun Craze and cinnamon cider because I thought that worked really well with the copper embossing folder or copper embossing powder and the crumb cake. And then of course, just a fun double bow from the linen thread. And then I made the exact same card, but I switched out some of the colors. I added Misty Moonlight and a layer of Night of Navy. And I did change out the colors that I was coloring with. But you can see it just gives a really cool look to each of these. So lots and lots of fun. I'm excited to send these out to a couple of my friends. And it's just another fun way for me to show you a twist on using your watercolor pencils, we'll say. All right, that's all I have for you today. A friendly reminder that celebration is still going on. Now through the end of February, you get the opportunity to earn free exclusive products from the celebration brochure with your qualifying order of $50 or $100 if you're in the United States. There is a free stamp set to people who host and their party sales reach $300 or more. And please know that when I say host, that doesn't necessarily mean you're having people over to your house and you're entertaining and serving drinks and snacks and all that. You can if you want. I do virtual parties. I know some of us, some of you may still be a little hesitant to gather in person with COVID going on. But another option is to do a virtual party that we can do an evening Facebook Live. I can put out some Facebook posts, be available to answer questions, do a couple demonstrations, and then people can order from you. And when your sales reach $300, then you get that beautiful Calming Camellia stamp set that I used in Monday's Facebook Live. And then our best deal, our very best deal, is to join my team. And there's so many great, of course, I'm sure you've heard about the discount on all your Stampin' Up! Purchases. But, you know, I feel like I want to move this camera back because it's one thing when I'm demonstrating, but then when I'm just talking and you can't see me, I can't see you, but you can't see me either. I feel better when you can see me. But anyways, the best deal is the joining offer. There is no further obligation. I'm sure you've heard about the discount. It's wonderful. But way beyond the discount, there are so many other great perks. We get to pre-order a month in advance. It's a great way to guarantee that you're going to get those holiday products or the new mini catalog products as soon as they are available to demonstrators. And some other great perks are that you get to belong to my team of Merry Stampers when you sign up with me. And we have a private Facebook group. We do some creative challenges. We share. We used to get together before pandemic. We used to get together quite often, at least once a month, in person. Those were a lot of fun. And of course, I've moved also, but I was going back and forth between Columbus and Cincinnati for some of those team gatherings. We'll see what happens with the pandemic numbers. It'll be at least a few more months before we try to gather in person. But we do jump on Facebook Lives and share that way. And you get access to my PDF tutorials for my classes to go free. Okay, so you get those PDF tutorials free as one of the perks of being on my team. And then of course the friendships, the sharing, the sense of community, just lots and lots of fun. So if you're interested in that, please let me know. And if you choose to stay on as a demonstrator and you want to build a business, I will help you do that. Many of my team members stay on for the discount, and that's perfectly okay to stay on as a savvy shopper, we'll say, or a happy shopper. But of course, if you want to do more, I'm happy to assist you in doing that, whatever your goals may be. All right, everybody. Happy Wednesday evening. Enjoy the rest of your week. I will not be live on Friday. I am going away on a girls' weekend. One of my demonstrator friends, Joyce Whitman, invited me to go to a crop. So she's coming tomorrow night to my house, and then we'll ride together on Friday morning, and I'll be back on Sunday. So I will not see you for a Facebook Live Friday, this Friday. That would be the 28th, January 28th. But you do want to go to my blog that day, stampinpeace.com, because there is a free Friday download scheduled to post on Friday when I'm gone. And then I'll be back next Monday. Alrighty? Have a great week. Thanks so much for spending part of your evening with me. Happy stamping.